What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another stream for you guys. It is the international break now, so we thought we would take this moment, this opportunity to look at how Spurs are doing this season and all the different title challenges so far this season. It's looking like Man City, Arsenal and Spurs right now are the three front runners in the league, but obviously you've still got other teams to think about in terms of Liverpool, Chelsea, maybe even Man United. But today we're going to be thinking about, are Spurs challengers or are they pretenders in the league this season? There's been a lot of talk about Spurs saying that, is their form sustainable with the way they're playing their football? They are getting the results. They haven't lost yet this season, but is the way they're playing football sustainable to carry on this form for the majority of the season? So how are we going to define this, Sim?
Yes, I guess we have to maybe look at some of the stats behind Tottenham's victories and see how sustainable that is, but also look at our rivals and maybe compare how we're playing now to last season. And last season, I think actually when Conte came in, we were playing really good football at times, and probably only just behind City and Liverpool when it comes to amount of chances we were creating and how much control we were having in games. This season so far, it's not that. Doesn't seem to be that. But is it a case of Tottenham having to improve their performances to actually sustain a challenge? Or is it a case of us just having to get used to what we're seeing and hoping that this kind of level of performance is sustainable? That's going to be it's a difficult question to answer after 7 games, but we're going to try and see if we can try and answer it.
Yeah, just before we get into it, we've got a brand new but not so new member in Aravind. He is back, so hopefully we'll see him on the stream a bit later today. We are taking callers, by the way, so I think probably in about half an hour, 40 minutes, the lines will open, but the link is in the community section right now if you want to have your say. Members chat from Bobby K, big up Bobby, and he says big up Ben, Sim and the chat, and a big happy birthday to KPV. Happy birthday, my KPV. Man. I mean, we already sang you happy birthday last week. So he's been celebrating his birthday about 2 weeks.
Can never sing it too many times for KPV. That's the truth.
And Wolves by a member for 10 months says happy birthday KPV and thanks for tips Bobby K. So everyone wish KPV a massive happy birthday in the comments. But let's get straight into it. Where are we going to start?
I guess we'll look at we'll think about first of all how we're performing in the league. So 5 wins and 2 draws over the opening 7 games. We sit third in the league at the moment. 17 points on the board, which is our best ever start to a Premier League campaign. On the face of it, we've had some tough away games that we've got some draws from, Chelsea and West Ham away from home. We've obviously our home form has been really strong. Won every single home game, all 5 wins, being Southampton 4-1, Wolves 1-0, Fulham 2-1, and Leicester 6-2. So we've scored quite a lot of goals as well. I think we're the second highest goal scorers in the division, behind only Man City. We've conceded only 7 goals so far, but for some reason there's still a sense of Tottenham are getting away with it. There's still a sense among the fan base that we're kind of a bit lucky to be in the position that we are because of the fact that we haven't quite been dominating a lot of games. We've given up way too much control, especially in the midfield. Seems to be overrun if not every game, at least most games. The midfield seems to be overrun. We're conceding too much possession in the middle of the park, and I think those are all valid concerns. But it's but then you look on the flip side of the control we're giving up. We are giving up control in midfield, but then you look at the chances we're conceding. I think we're the lowest in the league for expected goals per shot. So the chances we're conceding are we're the lowest quality chances per shot in the league. So are we defending? Is it a case of Spurs are just defending well, taking their chances when it comes, and actually if we could defend like this for the majority of the season, we'll be okay? Or is it a case of Tottenham really need a rethink in how we're performing, and we need to up our level if we're going to really force the issue when it comes to challenging for titles?
I mean, the way I look at it, the way the start of the season has gone, I mean, I haven't been happy with the style of football being played. I haven't been happy with the amount of control we have been having in games, but obviously you've got to be happy with when you just look at it on the face of things, the results and where we are sitting in the league table right now on our points tally, you've got to be happy with that. And that is brilliant so far.
But just a quick one. When you say you haven't been happy with the style of football, is that just an aesthetic thing, or is it a case of we're not actually playing well?
It's an interesting question, because I think that the style of football at the back end of last season, let's say the last 10, 15 games, whatever it was, after, let's say, probably after that Burnley loss when we started playing well. I think it started at Old Trafford maybe a bit before that, I can't remember exactly. But I think that the way we were playing football then, we could actually build up play from the back. We looked really strong. We weren't losing control of the game in the centre of the park. We weren't really getting overrun every game. And there were certain games that we did get overrun in midfield. I'm not saying that, but for the majority of the part, I felt like we weren't getting overrun in midfield, and we were actually playing out from the back and providing really good results and marrying that with good performances. This year, it seems as though we're getting the results, but not marrying it with the good performances as of yet. And I think, I don't know, it's hard, because you're looking at Arsenal and the way they're playing football, then they're really pleasing on the eye, the way Arsenal are playing football. I think there have been games where I think Arsenal actually have been a bit overrated so far this season, but you can't really argue with the results they're getting. The first test that they did come up against, they did fall flat on their faces against Manchester United, which has to be said. But I think that what Spurs have done this year with the teams that we've played so far this season, I feel like the hard games that we've had this season have been Chelsea, which they had a terrible start to the season. They didn't really know what they were doing at that point. Tuchel was still there. Obviously, he's been sacked since then. West Ham, which is obviously historically a very hard game for us at the London Stadium. They have had a shocking start to the season, having they've won once this season or something like that.
I don't think they've won yet.
Maybe haven't won a game yet. Although they've won one game or two games in the last 15 or something crazy like that. So they're on a downward trajectory. Apart from that, we beat Southampton convincingly first game of the season. Fair enough. Wolves 1-0 at home. Forest 2-0 away. Fulham 2-1 at home, and Leicester 6-2 at home. Out of all of those games, even the Chelsea and the West Ham one, I don't think there's been a team there that you would say that are really strong going forward, in my opinion. And I think those tests are still to come. And when you're looking at, I think that when we come up against, if we keep playing the same way that we have been doing, if we come up against a team that are really strong going forward, like we've got a test next week against Arsenal, I think that's when you're going to see the real Tottenham and see what we can produce on a football pitch. And if we can come out of those games saying that, we can draw or win those games, then I think my opinion will change a little bit on the style of football. But right now, I think the jury's a bit out, because we haven't come up against those teams that are really strong going forward.
Fair enough. But if you look at some of the stats revolving around the fixture, the results we've had so far, apart from Chelsea and West Ham, we've had a higher XG than all our opponents so far this season. So that suggests that the wins that we have got, and obviously those two were draws and maybe could have been losses. It does suggest all the wins that we have had, we've deserved to win. But you wouldn't get that sense from maybe how people talk. Do you feel like those wins we've got have been deserved, or have they been, any of them been lucky in your book?
I think for the most part they've been deserved. I think if we go through them, I think Southampton was deserved. I think we were lucky to get a point at Chelsea. The Wolves at home game, I mean, Wolves played very well that game. I think we probably just about deserved to win that one. Forest away, Forest peppered us a lot that game, but still they didn't really have too many chances, and I think we definitely deserved to win that game by the end of it. West Ham, I felt like we were a bit lucky to get a point out of that one. Fulham at home, we definitely deserved to win that. And Leicester at home, I mean, they put us under pressure for an hour, but I think we definitely deserve to win that. So I think for the most part, we have been deserving to win games, apart from maybe West Ham and Chelsea, which we didn't win.
Which we didn't win, yeah, I'm saying. So the wins we have gotten, we have deserved to win. So why aren't we getting enough credit for that? Or is it a case of, even though we've deserved to win, we can still see the flaws in those performances?
I think that's exactly what it is, because I think if we play a similar way to what we played against Nottingham Forest, what we played against Wolves, those kind of games, even the first hour against Leicester, and parts against Fulham, well, maybe not, we'll leave Fulham out of it because that's probably our best performance of the season. If we play like that against, you know, the Cities, the Arsenals, even the Manchester Uniteds, you know, teams like that are actually really good going forward, then I do think we'll come unstuck in the majority, maybe not every game, but for the most part.
If I'm looking at some of the statistics from last season in that run, just after January, you know, since the Man City game where we won 3-2, that's when Kulusevski made his full debut starting. And if I look at those stats, and in terms of like expected goals, we were pretty much every game, apart from that little run when we had Brighton and Burnley, we pretty much hit over 2 XG every single game. So we were really creating chances and scoring goals at will. This season hasn't quite been as prolific. We're still creating, but I think it's only really the Forest away game and the Fulham home game where we've hit over 2 XG per game. So it does suggest that the good quality chances are not as frequent, and then there's not as many this season as there were in the good period we had last season. And that was really when we saw the Conte team playing at its best at the time. That's when we had Bentancur and Kulusevski finally into the team. We were having very little injuries. Son and Kane were firing. So we haven't hit those heights yet. I think that's maybe why a lot of people are still hoping that we can hit that. But is it a case right now of what we're seeing right now? Obviously, we're winning games. We're not playing that well. But is it a case of that we're going to look to go back to those heights that we were last season? Is it a good thing that we're still picking up the results and playing badly? Or is it just more disappointing that we're not playing that well?
Well,
That's the question.
It's hard to say, because you can only answer that question once the season progresses, right, and see what happens in the future. Right now, I'm very happy with the results we've got. And I think right now, when you look at it, and if you want to judge it towards the back end of last season, I think that it's only a matter of time until we do click. So right now, I'm happy with not playing too well, because in my mind, I think that we will click over the next few weeks. But having said that, is it going to be that easy to click in the month of October when we've got so many games and so little time to prepare for games week on week? I think there's going to be a lot of weird results happening this month in October. That's not just for Spurs, that's for everyone. So, I mean, it's a very hard question to answer, to be honest. I thought at the end of last season, or maybe the beginning of this season, that the performances we saw last year were like a base level of what we're going to see this season. And once we get the new signings integrated and stuff like that, you'll see us get even better. But we seem to have regressed a bit in our performances, and I don't really understand why.
Yeah, it's a difficult question as to why our opposition teams getting more wise to how we play. Do we have to mix it up a bit? I think the midfield is a big factor right now, because I think pretty much apart from the Fulham game, I can't, and maybe the Southampton game, I can't think of too many times.
Half an hour in Leicester, yeah.
And the last half an hour in Leicester, I can't think of too many times where the midfield hasn't been overrun. And obviously, when we played that 3-5-2 in the last half an hour, it did give us a fresh approach, and it allowed us to, first of all, allowed more of the midfielders to get forward more. And it obviously allowed Kane and Son to exploit a lot of the space that was being left by Leicester. Now, there are caveats to that. We were 3-2 up late in a game, and Leicester had to leave the game stretch, and obviously there were going to be more chances for us. But maybe that's something we need to look to deploy in more games going forward. And I think there were times last season where we deployed it and we were looking quite good as well. So maybe that's something Conte has to look at. And it's not a formation he's alien to. He's played it a lot of the times at Inter Milan and Juventus as well. At Chelsea, he was kind of resistant to that one. He played 3-4-3 pretty much all the time.
He's played it with us a few times as well.
Yeah, he's played it a couple times. He played it against Liverpool at home last season. He played it at Southampton away and Leicester away. Can't remember too many other times he played it.
And obviously sometimes he does change that mid-game.
Yeah, I think was it Chelsea away? Did he change that mid-game?
Chelsea away, and also Leicester, obviously.
And Leicester. So it's a formation that he's obviously used to. So maybe when we look at those kind of things, the fact that there's a new formation that we can play a lot more this season to get the balance right in midfield. There's new signings like Basuma, we haven't seen enough of yet. Spence has been integrated. Longlay's just starting to get integrated now. He's starting to play quite well. Obviously, Richarlison seems fully integrated into the team. So the new signings, we're still to see a lot more from them. And then obviously once once we get back to the levels we were playing last season, maybe things will start to look a lot better than they are now. And maybe it is more of a case of we got to be happy that we're picking up the points with the level performances, because it's only going to improve. And there are reasons to think the performances will improve, surely, aren't there?
I completely agree. There are reasons, because first of all, you've got to look at players that we haven't even integrated properly, like Basuma. I think Basuma's going to make the world of difference to our midfield. You saw what an impact he had. I mean, everyone goes on about how Son changed the game against Leicester, but it was actually Basuma. I mean, when Basuma came in, everything just changed. We stuck him in the middle. He gave us that base, and our players just had the freedom to go forward and really hurt Leicester, and that's exactly what happened. And Sonny obviously gets the plaudits for his amazing goals that he scored, and rightly so. But I think there are reasons to be positive, to think that things can change throughout the season. I think that 3-5-2 formation, I actually think it suits us better than the 3-4-3. And the reason why we didn't use 3-5-2 as often as we wanted to last season is because we didn't have the personnel to do it. Last year we had Skippy out for the whole of the second half of the season. We had Winks there, but we had Bentancur and Højbjerg, right? And we didn't really want to see Winks on a consistent basis, did we? So I think he had to go to 3-4-3 for the most part last season. This year, now we have beefed up that midfield with Skippy coming back and Basuma coming into the midfield. You know, there's actually an option now where we can play 3-5-2 and 3-4-3 as comfortably as the other.
Yeah.
So I think that using that 3-5-2 will be a massive plus for us. And not only that, I was discussing this actually on David Harris's stream last night. When we use a 3-5-2, let's say we have Bentancur, Basuma and Højbjerg as that middle three, or use Skippy. You can use any of them, really, any of the three. Nobody knows which one is going to be that holding player. Nobody knows which one's going to be that further forward. Nobody knows. All three of them can be so fluid, and we can be so unpredictable in that middle three that I think it will leave teams guessing when they're trying to plan to come up against Tottenham. And not only that, but they don't know if we're going to use 3-4-3, 3-5-2. They don't know which players are going to play each role in the middle of the park. They don't know who's going to play right wing back. Kulusevski can easily play there. Emerson, you know what I mean? So I think that we can actually be really unpredictable this season, whereas maybe in recent times under Conte we've been a bit too predictable.
Yeah, but that just goes a lot to how Conte coaches the team a lot of the time, because I've heard a lot about these Conte automatisms. I think or is that how you say it? Automatism. There, I can't. You know the word I'm talking about.
I know the word. I know what you mean, but I don't know the word.
Yeah, I'm not sure the word I'm talking about. Basically, he's very, very in training. He likes everything done to how his specifications. He pretty much plans every single move and how he wants the team to build up. He wants the team to play to his tune. Now, when you look at people like Man City and Arsenal, or more Man City, I would say, they're much more like get the ball to the final third and then give the players the freedom to be creative, and that can be a lot more predictable. So when it comes to Conte, obviously he's had massive success in his methods, and I'm not questioning his methods when it comes to how he can get results. But in an age. I know obviously he won the league only a couple of years ago, but in an age where there's so much analysis and play and teams are studying the opposition for so long, when you have Conte's system where he pretty much wants to play the same way a lot of the time, is that ever gonna maybe become a problem where we do become a bit too predictable and people know what to look for? And I think, for example, Tuchel has been a manager who has kind of worked against what the way Conte wants to play. A lot of the times when we play him, we always struggle when we come against Tuchel. Thankfully, he's gone now. But is it something other managers are going to pick up on? And I know it's different. It's a different thing, noticing how a manager builds up and all that kind of stuff, and another thing stopping it. And I think because we're so well drilled, it is difficult to stop. But is it ever going to be good enough in a league where there's Man City, I know Liverpool faltering, but there's those kind of managers. Is it ever going to be good enough to challenge again? That's a big question.
I think if you have the right personnel in there, then yes. I think as of now, I don't think we have the right personnel 100% just yet to go as far as to say that we can go and challenge Man City. But I think Conte has proved everywhere he's gone that his methods work. And I think Klopp has proved everywhere he goes his methods work, and Pep has also proved everywhere he goes his methods work. So I think that if we have the right personnel, and Pep couldn't do it under Man City until he had the right personnel. Klopp couldn't do it at Liverpool until he had the right personnel. So I think if Conte gets the right personnel in, we can challenge at the top. But right now, I think that's a bit too early. But having said that, moving into this season, when you're talking about predictability, I think if we have the option to go 3-5-2 and 3-4-3 as strong as each other, then that does get the opponent second guessing, oh, what are they going to do here? What are they going to do there? And I think it will be a big tool in our armory. But where I see us lacking is the defence. And I know that we, last season we kept the record number of clean sheets, but I just got a feeling that we're
lacking for a title challenge, or for
a title challenge. Yeah, for a top four, we're fine. I think we're fine for a top four. But when we're talking about are we challengers or pretenders, we're not talking about top four. We're talking about a title. So I think we're too short for a title at the moment. I think Arsenal are way too short for it. I think we're stronger than Arsenal in terms of where we're at as a squad. I think obviously they're playing a bit better football at the moment, but we are stronger than them. We're stronger than them as a squad, and that will be proved over the long stretch. I think once they start to get a few injuries, they won't have anyone to bring in. When we have a few injuries, we've got the likes of Bissouma coming through. We've got the likes of Richarlison on the bench and players like that. So we've got much more depth than we had last season. I don't think anyone can challenge Man City this season. I really don't.
Yeah, that's the thing of Haaland banging an unbelievable amount of goals in the first 7 games of the season. With the depth their squad has, you adding how they played last season, you're pretty much just adding Haaland to that. It's an embarrassment of riches, isn't it, for Man City? And how does anyone compete with a manager like that? But is there any maybe hope that because Pep is maybe so desperate to win the Champions League, if the latter part of the season happens and they're maybe fighting on a few fronts, their focus could shift?
It doesn't matter because their second squad can probably win the league. You know what I mean? Like they're so strong. Not only on their team, they're so strong on the bench. They're so strong in reserves. I mean, they're just a monster of a squad and a monster of a team. And they've got Pep Guardiola, who he's won like 8 of his last 10 titles or something crazy that.
But in a season where the fixtures are so congested, where there's very quick turnarounds in between games, maybe a team like us who have the ability to restrict oppositions to very low quality chances in a low block when needs to be, and exploit the opposition's spaces, especially when now in this league where a lot of teams are playing with a high press, a lot of teams are actually looking to play football and be offensive and put pressure on the opposition. Could that possibly work in our favour?
I mean, it could to a certain extent, but then you've also got Man City. When you've got games every 3 days, they can play a whole different team on a Wednesday and on a Saturday and still win both games. We can't do that. Arsenal can't do that. Liverpool can't do that. Pretty much every team in the league can't do that apart from Man City, which that's a massive plus to them. And when you're looking at Spurs, we saw last season when we had 2 games a week, we weren't doing that well. We got really strong when we got 1 game a week. I feel like if we were to go out the Champions League early and not drop into the Europa League, then yes, maybe. But right now, with 2 games a week, I find it hard to believe.
Yes, I mean, Man City are just a behemoth, and they're just a super team. That's just what we got to get used to, the fact that what they are.
They've made this league into a 1-team league, pretty much. Like the Premier League have never been like that.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Well, you say that. Man United were probably more dominant in the 90s than Man City are now.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal were challenging them fairly regularly and running them very close a lot of the times. And then Chelsea came to the table.
I think in terms of league wins, I think United won 8 out of 11 in a 11-year stretch.
Which is fair enough, yeah.
Which City have won 4 out of the last 5, but haven't quite. Man United won 3 in a row twice. City are yet to do that, aren't they?
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true.
Well, once they won, I don't know. They can claim to be as dominant as United till they've done that, can they?
Yeah, how many titles do they need? 19 or something?
I know, but that's in total. I'm just saying, over one period, United done it twice, 3 in a row.
Yeah, how many titles have City won since Pep got there? 5, is it, or 4?
Since they won it 17, 18, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21, 22, so 4.
4 out of
6.
4 out of 6.
Which is pretty good going.
It is very good going. and the difference is like they're hitting like in excess of 90 points. Did Man U ever do that? Maybe once.
No, I don't. Maybe once. Yeah,
the dominance Man City are having in the leagues is something that we've never seen before in the Premier League in terms of a points haul. I mean, I know Liverpool have done it a couple of times since then as well, but year on year on year, Man City are doing it, and it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Like Man U, however much they won the league was nowhere near as strong as it is now when Man U were doing it.
Talking away from Man City, obviously Arsenal sit top of the league right now. Liverpool, we currently hold I believe it's an 8-point gap on Liverpool, I think, with a game in hand, if I think I'm right in saying. If I just get the league table up quickly, I believe we have an 8.
I thought it was 5, but I
believe we won, so I think it's 8 with a game in hand.
Yeah, it is.
So
yeah, they're on 9, we're on 17.
I mean, are they still? Do you still see Obviously, you can't rule them out of anything, but for you, when you see Liverpool now, are they still City's biggest rivals this season?
Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it?
Or are Tottenham going to be in with a shout of being their biggest rivals?
That's the thing. This is the reason why I don't think Man City have any rivals for the league this season. I think they're going to have it clean sailing. I really think there's going to come a point in the season, probably around like February or March time, when they're going to have nobody around them and they're just going to clean sweep the league really early. I think that Liverpool, it's still so early on in the season that Liverpool can easily come back. They just need their midfield to come back and we're going to see a better Liverpool side. But there are problems there. And we all know what happens with Klopp in his 7th season. Are we seeing it again with Jurgen Klopp in his 7th season? I don't know.
So specific.
It is so specific, but it's what history tells us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still think right now when you look at it, Liverpool are the 2nd strongest team in the league. That's what I think. But they've had a horrible start to the season. But, it's not beyond all realms of possibility that we can lose a couple of games, Liverpool win a couple of games, and then they're back up there.
Yeah, of course.
It's only a couple of games.
It's only 7 games in. That's obviously true. But Liverpool just don't look the same team right now.
No.
Something just seems... It definitely does look like a team, like when Dortmund... Like, I remember when it happened to Dortmund as well, everyone was quite surprised at that time. Like, sure, they'll turn it around at some point, and it never quite happened, and they just left at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe that is going to be the same for Liverpool right now.
He does cut a figure like that, very frustrated, very irritated, snappy. Yeah, I mean, we saw that similar Klopp in that season where they finished 4th, right? Where they had crazy amount of injuries throughout the season. They somehow turned it around the next year. And I always felt like once they get their players, because their defence was shot to pieces throughout the whole season. It's a bit different this year. They've got their defence. Virgil van Dijk has had a horror start to the season. I don't know what's happened with him. It's their midfield this time that has been shot to pieces, but they were missing a lot more then than they are now. And I actually still expect them to be doing a lot better now with the players that they have available to them.
Yeah, and I think it's like performances, for example, the Napoli game, when those kind of performances start happening. I know that they lost to United. That was also terrible, but they got absolutely battered by Napoli. And there was some of the clips circling from that game, like with some of the defending, like people trotting back, people not doing their jobs. Yeah. When that kind of stuff starts happening, like I've seen it so many times with Tottenham, when you see those kind of performances, you're like, the manager really doesn't have long. Obviously, Klopp has a lot of credit in the bank, so I'm not going to say he's a goner or anything, but that Napoli performance, when I saw the highlights of that game, I was thinking like maybe things are really starting to go wrong there, because
but that's the thing, right?
That was awful.
But that's the thing. Right now, when you're looking at Liverpool, it does seem like the beginning of the end. It does seem like that with what you're seeing on the pitch, but you just know how much quality that they have in the squad. You know what a good manager Jurgen Klopp is, so you can't write him off turning it around this season. You just can't.
Is an 8-point gap at this point significant or not really?
Nah, I don't think so. I think so. I mean, we've seen us take like a 13-point lead at Arsenal in March and give that up. So like 8 points now is nothing.
Yeah. True, especially with Liverpool, who I think last season in January were like over 10 points behind City, weren't they? And they clawed it back to the last day, didn't they?
8 points with 7 games gone is nothing.
Yeah. We've got a super chat here. Mark Dorset says, got no fear of Woolwich and we will beat them at the Emirates Library. You're more confident than I am with the way Arsenal play. Let's talk about Arsenal at the moment. To be fair, look, a lot of people say, have Arsenal been tested? I know they lost to Man United, but they've won the other 6 games. So I think, I don't know who it was, but someone posted, I think it was an Arsenal fan, posted on Twitter, the teams we have played so far. And I think every team except for Chelsea are in like the bottom 5 or 6.
Well, that we've played
for the right now in the league, not from last season. If you look at last season, it's a bit different. That's probably a better measure anyway, last season, because you can't really judge a league table after 7 games. But for all people saying Arsenal haven't been tested, is there an argument to say the same for us? Could you throw that accusation at us?
That we haven't been tested
as well with the form we've been in.
That's what I was saying earlier on the stream. I was saying that we haven't played a good attacking team yet.
But I'm saying just general team. I think.
Look, for us, going to Stamford Bridge and going to West Ham is always going to be a test, no matter what. No matter how they're going in the league, no matter what happens, these teams always turn up when they play us. So that's always going to be a test. When you're looking at the other games, you expect us to win all those games. Southampton at home, you expect us to win. Wolves at home, you expect us to win. Away at a promoted side, you expect us to win. At home against a promoted side, you expect us to win. At Leicester at home, you expect us to win.
They're the bottom 4 in the league.
Yeah, so
right
I mean, in terms of tests in the Premier League, we're going to have much harder tests than them. I think any game is probably a bit of a test in the Premier League, but
of course.
when fans say, have we been tested? Probably not, apart from those 2 games that we've drawn.
Yeah, and I think I think you could probably throw if people are going to throw that accusation at Arsenal, which has some validity. I think people can also throw that back at us with the teams we've played so far. I mean, we've played the bottom 4. Who are currently in the league right now. So I think that's probably a fair thing. But Arsenal are looking good right now. Saliba's obviously really settled back into the back 4. He's looking really good. Jesus obviously started the season really well up front. Odegaard, Martinelli are looking good. Odegaard's looking very good. So they are looking strong. They're a very young squad, a very young manager. Everyone seems to be pulling in the same direction. Do you see them? What do you see for them this season? Obviously, they sit top of the league. Are they as much title challengers as we are?
I think we're more of a title challenge than Arsenal. I think Arsenal are just too short. Their squad is way too short. They've got Europa League to contend with this season. Thursday or any midweek football and Premier League football is always going to be taxing on the squad. You're looking at, if a few players get injured for them, I think you're going to start to see bad results. In the month of October, they've got very hard games, so we're going to see the real Arsenal now. And when you look at it, the first game they got tested on, they completely fell flat on their faces. Yes, they played well, they passed it around well, but they got caught on the break every time Man U went forward. Some say Arsenal deserved to win that game, but I disagree. I mean, they hardly had a chance on goal pretty much the whole game. And Man United really broke them apart every time they went forward. Eriksen one ball and that's it. They're through on goal pretty much. So I think that when people are looking at Arsenal now, I think they're being overhyped a little bit.
Is their football more sustainable than ours, though?
Sustainable? Is their football more sustainable than ours?
That's people making the argument, because obviously they're looking at us now. Obviously, as Spurs fans, we're hoping the performances improve, and we're thinking that, yes, we're not playing so well, but we're still getting results, and that's a good thing because we're hoping that we're going to play better in the future. But right now, Arsenal are pretty much playing top of their game, and the way they play football right now, is that a more sustainable way of getting results over the long term than how we're playing, where we're giving up a lot of control at the moment?
I think potentially if they had a big squad to contend with, but right now they don't have a big squad to contend with. And I think that we saw, you know what this Arsenal team remind me of? They remind me of Spurs at the beginning stages of the Pochettino era, where they're just going at 100 miles an hour, very young squad. And we got a lot of, sometimes we got a lot of injuries. Harry Kane had his injury problems at that time. And when you're going at 100 miles an hour from literally the start of the season, I don't think that's sustainable from the first game till the last game. They're going to have drop-offs. They're going to have injuries. So I think after 7 games, it's very hard to answer that question. It's very hard to answer that question. And I think I'm more happy kind of feeling our way into the season and still getting the results than going at 100 miles an hour, where I don't think if Arsenal's performances can get better than what they're getting. I think there's only a downward spiral for them in terms of performances.
The one thing that does worry me about Arsenal is not actually their forward players, because obviously their forward players are good, but it's actually Saliba.
Yeah.
Him specifically. I actually think, because I think when they had White and Gabriel, they were decent, but they could be got at on the breakaway, and when they can control games, but they're always a bit vulnerable, especially physically and stuff. They're not the most physically
they're
dominant.
vulnerable this year as well. I mean, they are conceding chances. Look what happened against Manchester United.
I know, but with Saliba there, he is an absolute mountain. He's like a young Van Dijk. I'm not even joking. He is so big and strong and fast and got so much composure on the ball that he's going to mop up so many attacks that last season would have actually been something that to be worried about. He's actually going to mop a lot of those up now this season, and that's going to cut the chances they concede down by a significant amount. I think, and that worries me a bit about them, because if they can do that, then that means they can sustain their attacks and they can actually exert more control on the game with someone like him. When it was Ben White at centre back, I always felt like there was options to bully him and get at him and actually outpace him and things like that. But Saliba is not as much, and I think he's a big reason why they're looking a lot better at the moment.
Yeah, look, I get that.
And he does worry me.
I get that, and I completely rate Saliba. I think he's Arsenal's best defender, like hands down, like by far. But when you're looking at it, when you're looking at their fixtures and the games that they've played against Crystal Palace, they won 2-0, but Crystal Palace completely peppered them the second half and should have got something out of that game, and they were creating chances. Against Leicester, they won 4-2. Leicester were creating loads of chances against Arsenal that day. Okay, against Bournemouth, they had a convincing victory. Against Fulham were creating loads of chances that day and probably should have got more out of that game. Manchester United beat them after creating quite a few chances with their high line and Eriksen being really playing well. So actually, in the majority of their games, they actually have conceded quite a few chances.
I mean, you're never going to go throughout a whole season without conceding any chances, but I think the chances they're conceding now are a lot less, and also a lot less good chances. I reckon the expected goals probably, I would hazard a guess.
Yeah, look, they've improved from last season. There's no two ways about it. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm saying is that the way they're playing, not the way they're playing, but the way that Arsenal's squad is built, I just think ours is so much stronger than theirs. I really do.
I think what makes the difference is our forward players. I think
by the way, they spent 400 million getting the squad together.
Yeah, 100%, and that never gets said. They still bang on about how young their squad is, but it's a very expensive squad at this point. I think when it comes to Arsenal, I think the difference for us at the moment, I think our defensive structure that Conte's built, probably, even though the individuals might not be as good as what Arsenal have, it does make our defence probably a bit more solid than theirs in a way. So that's good. And then what makes the difference for me is the forward line. Obviously, we have two worldies in Son and Kane, and I think for them at the moment, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, they're all good young players, but they're just not at that level yet. Of what we have, and that will hopefully make the difference throughout the season. They are impressing me though, I have to say. I'm still confident we can finish ahead of them, and I think they are playing well. But I'm thinking once the games start clocking up, once they, as you say, once they do get a few injuries, and once also we haven't seen them yet play badly and like grind out results that we have. As of yet, really. I think I'd
say against Fulham they did that.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe against Fulham. Yeah. But I didn't even think Fulham played that well that game.
They were. I thought Fulham were the better side though, and they didn't play that well. So you've got to say that's grinding out a result if you're playing that bad.
I think, to be honest, I thought Arsenal probably just about deserved that victory.
Oh, do you think so?
Yeah, I thought so in that game. Even I think they brought on and made some subs, and I thought they just about deserved it in the end. But I think at the moment it's when they go through a stage like us where they're not playing well, they're not controlling games as well as they can. Will they still be able to grind out those results consistently? Like we've pretty much shown over 7 games. Like I think at least 3 or 4 of those we've pretty much had to grind the result out from not playing well. Are they going to be able to do that with a young squad, with a young manager manager as well.
Look,
those are the big question marks.
Arsenal's next 2 games are Tottenham at home and Liverpool at home. I know they're both at home and they're much better at home than they are away from home, but maybe... to be honest, no, my point doesn't stand because Liverpool have not been that great this season. But this Man City postponed game is a bit of a kick in the teeth because they would have had Tottenham, Liverpool and Man City all in a row. And now they've got a bit of breathing space between these fixtures. So it's a bit annoying. But I think that we should learn a bit more about Arsenal over the next couple of games against Tottenham and Liverpool.
I agree with that. And it's going to be interesting to see. I think I think as much as Man City, you could say they might run away with it at the moment. There's a lot of teams playing quite well at the moment, and I think they might not run away with it till later on the season. I think it might be fairly close up until like February or so.
Yeah,
and you might see them starting to run.
That's
away
what I
with
said.
it.
I said I think in around March time, I think you'll see a gap start to appear between Man City and the rest.
Lockman Young Yunus Sung Ajin says our results are papering over the cracks. # Levy out. Well, we've discussed about what we think we can improve, but is there a case to say that the results we are getting are overshadowing larger issues within the squad that maybe we haven't properly addressed over the summer?
I think what papers over the cracks and what maybe fills over what you're saying there is Antonio Conte. Because Antonio Conte is the one that makes everyone elevate themselves, who gives us that defensive structure, who gives us the structure to go forward and really hurt teams as well. So I wouldn't say the results are papering over the cracks. I think Conte is papering over the cracks.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Because I don't think Dyer looks half as good in a different system. I don't think Davis looks half as good in a different system. For me, I don't even think Perisic looks as good in a different system. I think you can probably say the same for Højbjerg and for Bentancur as well, and probably Emerson. So I think a lot of these players benefit. I think mostly defensive players benefit massively from having Conte as their manager and having that structure. And I think you're absolutely right. What's a good player in a Conte system isn't necessarily a good player in a different system.
Exactly.
And I think that probably is right. That probably does paper over the cracks a lot.
But having said that, if you get the players tailor-made for Conte's system, that's when you're going to see us go and challenge maybe a Man City and go to the top. We didn't do enough in this transfer window, in my opinion. I think we're still lacking at the back. We still don't have enough quality at right wing back, and we could have done with another player further up the pitch as well. And I think until we address those issues, we're still going to be pretenders.
Yeah, and that's probably right. If you were to make a prediction now, how many points behind within City do you think we'll finish?
I'm going to hazard a guess that Man City will finish between 90 and 93 or something around there. I think Spurs are going to finish within 10 points, I think.
It's about 83 points?
Something like that, yeah.
83 points. That would fall short of our best ever. From
I think we'll finish between 80 and 85, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think that's a solid prediction. I reckon... Yeah, I think 10 points would mark improvement. I think that would, if you finish 10 points behind this Man City team, I think that shows you're going in the right direction.
How many were we last year?
About 20, I think. 20 points, I would say, last season, because they finished on, I think, 92 and we finished on 71.
What's your prediction for Arsenal's point tally this year?
I reckon Arsenal get over 70, but I reckon they get about 74, something like that.
And Liverpool?
For Liverpool, I'm going to go about 75. Big drop off.
So is that your top 4? Man City, Spurs, Liverpool and Arsenal?
At the moment, yeah. I think Chelsea miss out.
You seem upset about that, putting Arsenal in the top 4.
I don't want to put them in. But I see them getting... I think Chelsea under Potter...
But does it really matter if Arsenal finish in top 4 if we're finishing second?
No, it doesn't. I just want them to get down. You know what I mean? I just want them nowhere near us. It's like a bad smell.
Bad boy.
Yeah, get away from us. Chelsea, we haven't discussed Chelsea, even or United, when it comes to the title race. I don't think they're in it right now. I think Chelsea, with the upheaval, changing managers, I think Potter's going going to need a lot of time.
Can Potter click straight away, or is it going to take a lot of time?
I think it's going to take time. Because it's a completely different job. There's different kind of egos to.
Do you think he's up to that task?
That's a big question mark. I don't know. I mean, he might be, but it's a really big question mark because it's completely different. It's so different to what he's done before. And
it's also very different for the prospect of him coming to manage Spurs as well.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't want to do that, but it's like to what he's done before, like at Brighton, Swansea, and Ostersund's. Like the expectation, the kind of players he has to manage, and the egos he has to manage, and the entourages, and all this different kind of things. You got players like Aubameyang who've got big egos, and going to kick up a fuss in the dressing room. He hasn't really had that at the clubs he's had. He's got everyone singing from the same hymn sheet and trusting in his methods. When you've got players who have won Champions Leagues, who've just had a manager who's got experience in winning Champions League and getting top 4 finishes, and now you're bringing in a manager who, but look, don't get me wrong, I'm a massive fan of what he's done at Brighton and other jobs. I think he's a brilliant coach, but will he command the respect that other managers who have the CV of Tuchel and managers before them have commanded? That's a big question mark. I don't know. And if he isn't commanded the respect immediately from these kind of players, is he going to be given the time from the board to restructure the squad in his image so he does get players who are singing from his hymn sheet? And is he going to be given the time and the patience to maybe not get top 4 and not win trophies immediately, whereas Tuchel wasn't given that time and patience? I know it's a different ownership.
I think he will be given the time.
That's a big question mark.
I think he will. I think he will. I think Todd Bowley is trying to do something different at Chelsea than what Roman did. I mean, he's pumping a lot of money into the youth. He's bringing in a lot of youth as well. And I think and bringing in Graham Potter as well, like signals to me that he wants more of a project than actually just like win now, get lost. I think it's more of a project now at Chelsea.
Yeah, and you might be right. These are just question marks. Like, if they're literally languishing in 6th, like, will there be patience there? If they're not challenging, if they're again not challenging for a league title next season, will there still be more patience? Because remember, this is a Chelsea fan base who are used to winning trophies every season. When there's a massive trust me, right now, if Chelsea aren't getting top 4 this season, as much as they want to be patient, there will be a lot of there will be sections of the Chelsea fan base. Oh, get him out! He's rubbish. He's not good enough. We need trophy. Blah blah blah. Will he be able to stay calm and be patient in those moments? These are all big question marks. I'm not saying that it's not gonna, that it'll go the negative way. I'm just saying these are very much unknowns right now when it comes to Potter, and I don't know whether I just think for this season for sure it'll be very difficult for him to at least challenge for a title, and I think top 4 at this point might be very difficult while he's implementing his style. It's going to be difficult when it comes to Ten Hag as well. I don't know. I think he's done really well to turn it around, to be fair to him, but whether I don't know. I think I'm seeing good stuff, but they're winning games in a style where that's not how they want to play. So whether they're going to keep it up, I don't know.
I think that's credit to Ten Hag for winning in a style that he doesn't want to play, because
we
haven't seen him give any alternative views on football apart from what we saw at Ajax, total 90 football, you know what I mean? And I think to come in with Man United, I think he wanted to do it from the off, but obviously he realised that wasn't possible. And after losing 4-0 to Brentford, I think it was, in an absolutely terrible display, I've been really impressed with them since then. And I think that if they carry on with this ilk, I think they can finish in the top 4. I think when you're looking at top 4, right, you've got Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United and Chelsea all there as the contenders, and I think any of them can get there. I think Chelsea can get there quite easily, Liverpool can get there quite easily, and Man United can get there quite easily. It all depends on how they progress immediately within the future. We don't know how Chelsea are going to respond to this Graham Potter. If Man U carry on the same way under Ten Hag, they've got a good chance of getting it. It all depends as well if Liverpool turn it around or not. I mean, there's so many variables that go into it. It's unbelievable.
That's the thing. I honestly think at the moment their best hope is that Liverpool are really faltering to get into that top four. Because I think Arsenal are just ahead of them right now in that project and how they're playing. They just look too in sync at the moment.
We just don't know with Arsenal though, because like we say, when the games start coming, 2 games a week like they're coming now, if a few injuries start to hit, like who knows what kind of Arsenal we're going to see.
Yeah, but you could say the same. But United and Chelsea also in Europe. You know what I mean? And
but I think United and Chelsea have bigger squads than Arsenal though. That's the point.
Yeah. But they have bigger squads, but they're not up. They're not as far down the line in their projects as Arsenal are. As I'm saying, Arsenal everyone knows their role. They're much more in sync right now. So even when you take that into account, the squads and stuff, Chelsea and Man United might have bigger squads, but when they're making changes, are the people coming in are going to know their roles and things like that. With Arsenal, I think it's more likely they will.
Should do if they're on the training pitch every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but why do you think it takes ages for the squads to get into these periods where they're playing well? Because it takes time, and I think Arsenal have had 3 years now with Arteta, and that's why I think. Right now, I think that's why I put them as favourites ahead of United and Chelsea.
Interesting. I mean, I do as well. I mean, when I predicted my top 4 at the beginning of the season, I said City, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal.
Don't get me wrong. I think if Chelsea kept Tuchel, I'd still back them. But because they sacked him and now have Potter, I think that makes it a bit more.
It was a poor decision from Chelsea to sack him.
I'm not saying it's poor. I'm just saying in the short term, it might hurt them.
Got a member for 25 months. Mr. Brian Daigle says, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone in the chat. And my incredible brothers, Ben and Sim. All roads lead till the filth. The filth. Come on, you Spurs.
All roads lead
roads lead to the filth. Get that out of the second. Come on, big up, Brian. Was there another one in there?
I think we read that one out already.
Okay. All right. Well, without further ado, I think it's time to bring on some guests.
Yes.
Oh, wait. First, before we do that, what was your opinion? Are we challengers or are we pretenders?
I think...
I don't think I'm going to let you get away with that one that easily.
I think we're challengers.
Challengers?
I think we're challengers.
Challengers for what?
For a title. I think it all depends if we can up our performance... And we can show consistency. I think, look, Conte's got this team drilled.
You just said a minute ago that after March we're going to see a gap from Man City and the rest of the...
Yeah, more likely. But if we can challenge up until then we're challengers.
No, we're challengers until if we challenge up until the very end.
What, last day of the season?
Last few weeks.
We can keep pace.
Let's say the last month of the season.
We can be challengers. Till the last month.
Do you actually believe that though?
Yeah, why not? I think that all depends if first of all, if we can get maybe 1 or 2 in January to help us along the way. I think if the fact that we've shown we can win games right now, how we're winning games, and if we can improve the way we think we can improve and keep that consistency, and I think as well the fact that the Premier League is set up this season in a way that could benefit us in the fact that a lot of teams are pressing high in a season where it's very congested and teams could burn out a lot quicker. I think these are all things that could play in our favour, and I think the way we play under Conte, I actually think we could show a lot of consistency this season. That's what you're going to need this season. It's not necessarily about big wins. It's about being consistent till the end. And I think these things could really benefit us, and that's what I'm banking on next season. I'm not saying we're going to win the league, but I'm just saying if anyone's going to keep pace...
Here you have it. Sim just says Spurs going to win the league this year.
If anyone can keep pace with City, I really believe we have probably a better chance than anyone this season right now, especially with Liverpool faltering. But I don't know. Why not?
I do agree with you. Like with Liverpool,
think there are some cases
I do agree with you with Liverpool faltering that Spurs are probably best placed to do it, but I still think we're pretenders. But that's just my opinion. Let's get the Brian and Bobby on. Bobby, we're getting 2 at the same time today. Big up.
How honoured are we?
Double trouble. Unbelievable. How you doing, guys?
Good morning, gents. How you doing?
On mute. Is it our end or their end?
Not our end. We're bloody me.
Oh, it's not bloody plugged in.
Because the
it's
mouse
not plugged in. The headphones over here on the TV. What are these amateurs? Plug in our microphone, Bobby and Brian.
Brian, can you not come here and plug it in for us?
Mate, it's
audio.
Sooner than you think.
We're getting the finger wagging. We can't hear what you're saying, but I can see the fingers.
No.
Can you not hear us at all?
1 sec,
What the
guys.
hell? We're on.
You know.
We are on.
What?
We are.
1 sec, guys.
Should we do a little stick figure show? You want to rock, paper, scissors or something?
Let's do it. Rock, paper, scissors.
Here, 1 sec.
1, 2, 3, go. 1-0.
Here.
1, 2, 3, go. 2-0.
No, wait.
1, 2, 3.
Speak? No, still not.
Hello.
Hello?
It's
Hello?
not plugged in here.
Hello?
Okay, people can hear us.
Hello.
They can hear us.
They can hear us.
Oh, careful.
Jake, do your job.
5 people in the chat. Come on, Jake.
Everyone, they can hear. Everyone can hear Brian and
Yep.
Bobby,
We-
and they
we're
can hear
playing
us.
rock,
We just
paper,
can't
scissors.
hear Brian. Yeah, we're doing well, thanks, guys. And what? No, can't hear.
Hi, everybody in the chat. So hopefully you're having a lovely day today. It's a happy Wednesday over here. It's a bit chilly. The weather's turned a little bit,
Yep.
Brian. The weather's turned a little bit.
What is going on?
Why is it not?
See this?
Oh dear.
Get Microsoft. Get Microsoft.
Well, in the meantime, do you want to just tell everyone if we're challengers or pretenders?
Actually, yeah, we'll carry on. That's
Okay,
fine.
we'll-
Yeah, we
we'll-
don't
we'll
need you. We
take
don't
over the
need
show.
you. Yeah, we're
We'll
good.
take out, you go
Yeah.
first.
So do you want to be Ben or do you want to be Chris?
Oh yeah.
No.
Whoever. You be, well, you just give your view on what you reckon, pretender or challenger.
Honestly, I'm just based on what we've seen, the style, the way
Let me
we've
see
been
if I
playing
can
the
sort
football and everything like that. I know which way you're going to lean because you're more of a realist than I am, where I am ahead in the clouds guy. So I'm going to say we are outside challengers. We can do it.
We should really be doing this
The
kind of
fact
stuff
that
before we come on.
Sonny came on and looked so good. If we start clicking and we can maintain our health and avoid injuries, get to January and hopefully strengthen the squad, I think this is the time, man. This is the
So you're saying
I,
we're challengers.
I'm gonna say only because in January we're going to the first game ever, and this is the year the first game we ever go to in Tottenham is gonna be the year we win the league, and from there Tottenham will have to sponsor us, the 3 Spurs boys, and fly us over for every game.
So you're saying we're challengers.
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
And now you get to cut me down.
no, I don't get to cut you down because I actually think we're prelengers. I think we're a bit.
Prelengers? Yeah,
I think
that's a
we're
good way to put it.
I
Yeah.
think we're a bit of both. Like Simeon was saying. Oh, it's just us now. We have taken
Hey.
over. We are Tottenham TV. Okay, so as I was saying, I see us like Benson was saying with Liverpool. They don't look like they're fit and firing. We are ahead of them now, and if we can keep that point, I think we are technically. And looking at it, if Conte can get the boys playing properly, because at the moment we're playing badly and getting the.
You know what? It's funny you say that, Brian, but I don't think we're playing we're not playing attractive football, but we're playing. I'm going to
That's what I
say
meant.
result consistent football.
That's what I meant. The football
It's not pretty.
If we get to click, this is what we're doing when we're not playing to the standard we accept or we deem that we thought we'd be getting. If they can click, and they will click, let's face it, they will click.
Yeah.
It's just a case of when. Then we could have a real shot at this. But again, with this World Cup being the way it is, injuries maybe coming in, how we spend. You look at how. Forget what people think about the window. One thing we do know is the big teams around us strengthened.
Yeah.
We did, but we were led to believe we were strengthening above their strengthening to try and close the gap. If there is a real shot of doing something come January,
It has to be big, though.
it has to be.
It has to be big. It can't be a project. It can't be our second choice option.
Exactly.
It can't be our third choice option. It has to
Exactly.
be the number one guy we wanted, and flat out go drop the money and get ourselves the support and everything we need in the proper areas. I honestly believe that we are a couple of key players away from really making that transition into a level up.
I think everyone else is forgetting as well. My lucky shirt.
Oh yes,
My lucky shirt. Which
we've
is,
nicknamed it Stinky Wing.
Oh, have we? I didn't know. You made.
Oh no,
it.
me, we.
Okay.
We.
So yeah,
the 3 Spurs boys named your shirt the Stinky Wing, by the way.
So you
When you
look
weren't looking.
you look at that right now, and obviously it's been since the Liverpool game. So it's been since April. It's been since late April, and here we are in mid-September, coming into late September. And it's still undefeated. I did not wear it for the Champions League. Like I said, I'm only wearing it for the Premier
Only
League.
for the league, yeah.
So the next time it will be worn is against the Filth. And yeah, this is where I'm looking. we need to focus where we're going. Like I said, we've got what I think it's what now, about 7 or 8 Premiership games before the World Cup. Maybe not even 7 or 8.
No, I think you're a lot less than that, buddy.
But if we can do well, and I'm only talking now Premiership. I'm not talking with
End of
Champions League.
November. We're not starting again to the first week of October. Yeah, I guess yeah.
Probably about
7 or 8 games,
between 5 and 8 games left in the Premier League before we break up. If we could do well there.
All right.
Well, we've been joined by
we got some special guests in the house today. Welcome to We Are Tottenham TV, and of course we got. Look at that! Tottenham on Tour is in the house, in the studio.
What is going on?
Oh my God! There's Tottenham on Tour here today. No way is Tottenham on Tour in here today.
You bring him into this world, and straight away, welcome to the 3 Spurs boys.
Well, technically, you're just going with what's around you. I'm just surrounding.
Look how privileged you are to be called the birthday boy today. Bad news, KPV. Unbelievable.
Is he in the chat?
He's not in the chat. But that's your name. Not anymore.
Brian and Bobby.
Not anymore. He's not even been in the chat. We were going to sing him happy birthday.
Yeah, we don't even know where he is.
That's unlike KPV.
He'll watch it back.
Do you reckon he will?
He'll watch it back. It's KPV, man. He's loyal.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll get in.
All right, well, everyone go and wish him happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, KPV.
It's KPV. Happy birthday to you.
That's what happens when you don't rehearse first, right? So.
Did you practice that one? Did you practice that before you came on air?
Yes.
But
it still went wrong.
Yeah, it still went wrong, though. Yeah, that happens.
Practice doesn't make perfect by the sound of it.
No,
but
clearly not.
How are we doing, boys?
Guys, thanks for joining us today. How's things over on your end?
Yeah, things are going all right, thanks. Thanks for having us on. It's been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure being on the channel with you guys. I hope you're doing well.
So what were you talking about when we couldn't hear you?
So basically, what I said, with the question being, are we pretenders or challengers? I think we're prelengers. I think we're, I think we're a bit of both. With both what you said, if you look at it, the way things are going right now, not playing the best football but getting results, injuries not really being a huge issue right now, and the way we're playing and getting results done, it bodes well for when we finally do. Let's say the word click and start firing on all cylinders like we did near the end of last season. So that looks good. I think Sim, what you said is right. With Chelsea, with Graham Potter, I think Chelsea will be challengers, but in a couple of like serious challenges. Graham Potter needs time to get like you saw what he did with Brighton. He needs time to get his philosophy, his training methods, and everything over the line. And I don't think even with the players at Chelsea they can snap into it that quick. And then I think it all comes down to where we've been before, that when it comes to January and we've been challenging before, if we really, really, really push the boat out. Because when you look at the window, whether you agree with good or bad, you look at it and it's the other team strengthened significantly as well. Whereas we did strengthen, there's no question of it. Our closest rivals strengthened a hell of a lot as well. So did we close the gap? Maybe a little, but not. But if we're there in January and there's a possibility, we have to grab the ball by the horns and really go for it. And then I think it could become challengers. But if we don't, then it's pretenders.
And we've done it. It's happened a few times, isn't it, Brian? That we've been in that situation in January and not pushed the boat out and then end up falling away. Bobby, looking at how we've started the season, 5 wins, 2 draws. A lot of fans, still saying we're obviously happy with the results, but performances haven't been up to scratch, and we've been getting away with it a bit. Do you see the performances that we've been putting in? Are they sustainable, or do you believe that if we're really going to go the distance in either challenging for a title or even getting a top 3 finish, that we're going to really have to step up how we play if we're going to get these things, or are these performances something we're going to have to get used to under Conte?
Well, that's a lot all in one question there. To
But you can answer it. I trust you, Bobby. I trust you.
Holy. Talk about putting the host on the spot right away, man. There's a lot of work these guys. The way it is, fellas, I'm gonna almost go backwards with your question. We're winning the league.
Thank you for coming on, Bobby. Thank you for coming on. Nice to see you.
Have a great day, guys. Appreciate you showing up. All right.
Which league is that, Bobby?
Doesn't matter. Don't get technical, okay? Honestly, like me and Brian were discussing, I think the football we're playing is not attractive, but the word sustainable being used, it is sustainable because it's almost clever football, like just play smart football, avoid the mistakes, avoid trying to concede stupid goals and stuff. We've seen them, but we're fixing those areas. We're tightening up on those defensive mistakes and stuff with the people we have.
Mm-hmm.
So if in January we can get better people in those situations, or we start clicking and gelling, we're only going to get better. I can only see our ceiling going higher and higher. So if we can start getting that squad gelling, get through the World Cup safely, the break, get to January and strengthen our squad. And like I said to Brian, no bullshit strengthening the squad where we go and get our second, third option or one for the future. One that can put us in a spot that will make the difference now between stopping a guy like Haaland and stopping the bigger players and shutting them down completely, because Haaland is just ridiculous right now. That guy is the one sole reason I could see City winning the league. If he wasn't at City right now, I would say our chances are even better. But if we can do the same thing where we can get that impact player, be it at the back, in the middle, or at the front, wherever, well, we don't need it at the front, but in the middle or at the back, I seriously think we can challenge. There's no reason not to have that belief. We've got the best manager in the world here. He knows what he's doing. We've just got to get behind him. Just got to hope that the come January, like you said, that the right enforcements are made and the squad is tweaked properly, not just not band-aid solutions again. Right.
But Bobby, you talk about sustainable football and the football we're playing right now being sustainable, but with the games like Leicester, like Wolves, like Chelsea, like West Ham, where we have come under significant pressure for periods of the game, do you not think that maybe when we come up against the better attacking sides like the Man Cities, the Arsenals, potentially even the Man Uniteds and the Liverpools, that we could become unstuck?
No, because I think what Conte has done is that this is his system. He knows what he wants to do. So what he's doing is preparing them now for those big games. So this is almost like our warm-up and our training and everything to get the system into place perfectly so that he could sit here and say, this is exactly what I want to do. He's used to doing that, soaking up the pressure, doing the counterattack thing. And it worked towards the end. As soon as we brought Sonny in, that's the way when Basuma came on and we played, that transition right there was absolutely massive. So if we can keep doing those little things and play our style of football, I'm not worried about it. I think we'll be able to soak up the pressure as long as people do their job and don't make the mistakes. As long as he keeps eliminating the small mental mistakes and gets the best out of what we consider some average players, I think we could do well.
Brian, what would you? I'm not sure if you were agreeing with what we said there, but what would you say to fans who say, under Mourinho, for a time we were top of the league, we were playing fairly similar football, counter-attacking, getting results, but ultimately it wasn't sustainable. We couldn't get over the line. Is this a similar story now? Is it going to go the same way, or do you see it being different?
Yeah, I'm kind of like what Ben was just saying when it comes to this. If you look at it, against Nottingham Forest, they had so many chances, but they didn't have a striker to convert it. West Ham, the same. And I just feel when we come up against a team that really, really attack, like a Man City with Haaland, who, let's face it, is everything's man touches, it somehow ends up in the back of the net. I don't know if the pressure that our defenders will be able to handle it. Yeah, it's good right now, soaking up pressure and learning to play it against the smaller teams. But the movement of the big teams and the midfielders like a Man City has, like a Liverpool have, I think it can cause us a lot of trouble. I think the thing you got to take away with as well is just how good we look when Basuma came on. Just how good that 3-5-2 looks, and it was very good to see that Conte saw an issue and then dealt with it and said, right, we need to do this, and counteracted it rather than just bring it on like for likes and just hoping fresh bodies would do it. to see that he will change. I'd love to see the 3-5-2 against the Filth. I really would. I think that's the way we can do it. And whenever we get battered by them, let's face it, you guys know very, very close hand from whenever you're there. When we go to the Emirates, we put up a horror show. And it's normally because we get absolutely overrun in midfield and we just can't cope. And seeing that he did that against Leicester, it kind of gave me a bit more hope that, you know what, now he has got the players to say, right, let's switch this to a 3-5-2. Last season, we were all crying for it, weren't we? But he just wouldn't do it, maybe because the players weren't there to play it to the way he wants. And I think that's the huge key in it. Seeing that he did make that switch, and we saw how well it benefited the team and Sonny. So that's what I'm hoping now. I'm hoping, seeing from that Leicester game, that he did recognise and do it. Even before the 3-5-2, we tried Perisic on the right, showed something new, that he's open, that he will be up and will make these changes or sacrifices if need be. That's given me a little bit more hope for when we play these big teams, that he may realise, right, I can't do this because it could be over before it's begun. So that change in Leicester has given me a bit more hope.
What's your predictions for how many points you think Spurs can get this season? Both of you.
Well, mate, listen, if we beat the Filth or come away with a point, then my lucky shirt has just shown how lucky it is. And then I'll just say, the Invincibles, here we come. So, and then I've decided I will frame it.
Until your wife hides that shirt and burns it or something.
Oh, mate, it will be in England with me shortly, won't it? So
You got a safe at the house that he locks it in.
I'm going to donate it to you guys. I'm going to get it framed and everything. You can put it next to your TVs and shit and say, this is what won the trophy. This is it. So, yeah, no, honestly.
It's what let us lose in Sporting.
Yeah, but, mate, listen, if we win the league, if we win the league and go invincible, if you want to blame me for losing to Sporting, I'll happily take it, as long as I get the credit for us winning the league, not Conte me.
I think we can all
He's
agree.
with me. I got to deal with this then later, okay?
Yeah, we don't have to smell the shirt over here. Bobby's there next to him in the terraces, smelling that shirt every
The
time.
stain must remain.
The shirt's only worn on match days. It is nowhere near.
Brian,
Brian,
I think we can all agree, right? As much of a test it's going to be for Conte and Tottenham in the North London derby, it's a bigger test for the shirt. I think that's we can all agree.
It is, mate. I mean, like I said to you, it's got about 58 aftershaves, 28 different deodorants, roll-on, spray-on, you name it, it's got it. But yeah, no, go back to it seriously with points. I'd like to say I could see us getting within the 80s. Within the 80s is where I'd like to say. But I'll put a buffer on it. I'll say 77 up.
Okay.
Over 77.
Bobby?
Right.
Over 77.
Shaking his head.
Negative, bro.
I know. I somehow, do you know what? Somehow, with some
Why you got to fall into it? Why do you let him trap you, man?
Somehow, some people will say that I sang Happy Birthday to KPV in a negative way.
Oh, you're talking
It was horrible the way you sang
don't
it.
blame me. That's fine.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's all good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm the opposite of Captain Negative here. The fact that Sonny's scoring 3 goals every 13 minutes on the current ratio he's at, I think he's going to finish the season with 409 goals.
You could also argue he's scoring 3 goals every 7 games.
Why you got to do that, dude?
It's 3 goals every 7 minutes.
Yeah, well, yeah. Honestly, I'm going to go with what Brian's original prediction was. Based on what we've got coming and everything, and if we can sustain and get better, I'm going to go 80 plus into the 80-85 range. And I'm going to secure. I'm going to say I can see us finishing second, man. As long as the way things are going right now, if they can sustain and we can take down the, I don't even want to say it. You could say it.
Filth. The
Filth. You take down the Filth, then take them down twice this season. That'll be perfect.
Just before we let you go, someone in the comments is saying that they can smell a bit of a tattoo bet coming on here.
Yeah. Listen, I've learnt my lesson.
If Tottenham win, Brian, the only way we can win the league, is if you commit to getting a tattoo. That's the only way we can win.
There's actually, as Ben will know, because Simon, you were over the head. I actually did say if we win any trophies under Conte, I will get the trophy tattooed around We Are Tottenham TV's tattoo. So that kind of bet was I add to my own misery. I'm like, I'll put bets on by myself. I'll bet myself. So yeah, if we do win any trophies, the tattoo or that trophy will be going around the We Are Tottenham TV.
Maybe you should get a whole. Maybe you should get a whole like top body tattoo of the shirt. A We Are Tottenham, the grey shirt tattooed to your body.
Like a birthmark.
With the stain, by the way, with the stain.
Yeah, I'll do that and say this is my birthmark. That's what I'll do. There we go.
Brilliant.
Win the league, done deal.
Yeah, but there was a second part to that bet that I don't know why he's not bringing it up because such a daring man, a man of his word, man, my friend here.
What did I say? I didn't say.
Classic man, category 1 gentleman. The second part of the bet was if we get the double, Little K gets to do the tattoo.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think even in my wildest, craziest days I would have said that. So
Maybe. I've heard some stories.
yeah, that's true.
All right,
But
big
guys,
up, guys. Thanks for
your
hosting the show. And
Guys,
No problem. You guys, we're gonna step out. We got a few things to do. You mind taking over?
yeah, no problem,
nice.
guys.
We
No
got this,
problem.
guys.
You guys take a rest.
We will do, guys. I'll speak to you later. Ben, I'll speak to you soon. Simi, I'll speak to you soon. Take care,
Nice
boys.
one,
Have a good
guys.
day,
Have a
guys.
good
day,
God
guys.
bless. And
Big up, guys. Absolute classic as always. We've got a members chat here for 13 months. Brandon Troller, and he says, man, if we get Barella and or Gvardiol in January, we could even win a double. I mean, yeah, it's wishful thinking.
Well, yeah, those two, yeah.
And if we get Messi and Ronaldo with them as well, you never know. Mark Dorset, member for 20 months, says, if we are in the top 4 as with anyone and not far behind come February, then yes, we are challengers. No more than 9 points off or just top 4. What'd you say to that?
Yeah, I think it's a fair point, isn't it? Because if we're in a good position, then having played a lot of our tough away games, then you have to say we are well with a decent shout. So, yeah, I would say it's not a terrible point.
All right, and everyone, brace yourselves. It's time for the birthday boy. It's KPV to Tottenham, and it's live.
Happy birthday,
Hello.
KPV. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I didn't get to do the tour because it was the last one at 3:30, so I didn't get to do it. But
Oh, that's
luckily,
shocking. Tottenham, after it's your birthday.
I
They got to
know.
let you in. They got to
Did you
let
not tell
in.
them it's your birthday?
yeah, I told them, but yeah, they wouldn't let me do it. Kind of annoying, but don't worry. The good news is I'm doing it on the 4th of October, the day of our game against Frankfurt.
Oh, that's brilliant news. Oh,
Yeah,
are you
Are you on the
ready?
train, Carl? Where are you off to?
I'm on my way back home. But cheers for the birthday message, Ben. And get
No
ready for an
problem.
ass whopping tonight, mate. Get ready for an ass whopping on FIFA, Ben. You're getting a little smash, mate. 'Cause
Carl,
we're still
Carl,
playing, Ben.
I want to know
Yes,
what
mate.
what presents have you got for your birthday? I want to know.
I got a picture of Ronaldo
Oh, brilliant! Look at that.
and the home shirt with Ronaldo on as well.
Amazing.
Well,
is
did you get
that what you're wearing right now? Is that what you're
It's
wearing?
in the bag, mate.
It's in the
No, I'm
bag.
wearing a
Go on,
cooler,
mate.
sexy one.
Go
I'm
on,
wearing
show
a
us,
cooler
show
sexy one,
us,
sir.
show us the Sonaldo shirt. Come on.
All right, mate. One sec. Even though my phone's gonna die soon, I better just show you quickly before my
Alright,
phone
just for
dies.
us. Just for us, Kyle.
All right,
Don't
mate.
worry.
One sec.
We won't
Yeah,
show anyone.
Yeah. So yeah. Boys, you can just see it.
Wow, look at that.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Expressions will be proud.
Absolutely
Expression.
beautiful.
Yeah, the big man and Champions League badge with it.
Oh, look at that.
Unbelievable.
With the CL badges.
Unbelievable.
That's exactly that'll
Yeah.
piss off the Gooners.
That
They
is a
don't know what
big,
it's like to have. They don't know what it's like to have CL badges.
Yeah,
a
mate.
big, a
Correct.
big happy birthday to you, Carl. But before your battery dies, tell us, are Spurs challengers or are Spurs pretenders?
We are challengers, mate, because Rodri from Man City said he sees us as contenders for the title. So thank you,
right.
Rodri, for the nice comment for my birthday. So yeah, and apparently Arteta has expressed his backing to postpone this big game. Like, do one, mate. No, thank you. I don't want the North London derby postponed. No, thank you. Because we're still going to smash them.
Exactly. We know Arteta always likes to get out of a North London derby, don't we?
And remember this, boys. Once a gunner, always a runner. Once a gunner, always a runner.
Big up KPV.
Love it.
Big up
Love
KPV.
it. Enjoy the rest of your birthday, mate.
Yeah, and I'll speak to you tonight, KPV, and you can give me an ass whooping.
Yeah. Is it about 7:30 or 7 we'll play, mate?
Yeah, something like that. I'll give you a game tonight.
All right, mate. No worries. All right, boys. Laters. Who
See
let
you
the
later.
dogs out?
David did.
All right, lads.
See ya.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Everyone show KPV some love on his birthday today.
Just to quickly mention what KPV was actually saying in those comments from Rodri. He was quoted today saying, on Tottenham, he said, Tottenham have a great squad and a manager with very clear ideas who knows how to convey them perfectly. He says they know what they have to do, and with great precision. I see Spurs as candidates for the Premier League title. Conte's career speaks for itself. Well, Rodri knows more than me, so I'm going to go with Rodri, I think.
Big up Rodri.
If Rodri thinks we're contenders, then there you go.
And someone who also knows more than us, Mr. Grandpa Brian. Let's bring him on the show. Grandpa, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. I was just watching Brian and Bobby, and it forced me to say when I must come on, because Bobby was a man after my own heart. He really does think we are contenders, as I think we are contenders. He really believes in the 3-5-2 method of playing. I think having the five in the middle there is just absolutely fantastic, but the one requirement is that the wingers must have pace, because they've got to go up and down quite fast, go into defence faster than anybody else and into attack faster than anybody else. So they must have pace and outpace everybody else, which is why I really want to see Spence, and because he appears to be one of the fastest people that are on our books that we're not using.
Grandpa, what do you yeah, go on.
That's all right.
That's all right. What would you say to people who are maybe not as enthusiastic about the way we're playing at the moment? Do you think Spurs are going to improve the way they're playing, or is it a case of Spurs are just being quietly effective, and that the way we're playing is going to be good for us later in the season? I think he's lagging a bit.
You repeated something.
Sorry.
Okay. I got your question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
There's just a bit of a lag. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. I think that we're not being particularly quiet about our effectiveness. I think we're being effective. The bloody results show that we're being effective. You know, we haven't lost a Premier League game yet. I think something like 13 games altogether we haven't lost, other than the Championship game last week. And even then, I don't think we played badly. I think we played quite well. I think we had more chances. We messed it up. It should have been a draw. We were playing a team that were very enthusiastic and had pace. And they were outbeating us in pace. I don't know the answer. And we'll lose other games, I'm sure. But nevertheless, I think we really are contenders. I think Conte is playing a very careful game. He's making sure that people with injuries stay out until they're actually properly fit. He's making sure that they're going to fit into the team and know where everybody else is, because he had a team so well prepared at the end of last season. He worked hard at it, and he doesn't want to spoil that, which is why he's playing many of the same team at the moment. But he's bringing people in slowly, and every time he's brought somebody in, they've made a difference. So I am very, very positive. Whether we get 2 more new players in the January opening, I don't really mind because I think we've got the makings of a great team now. If we've got a couple more people that's going to cover injuries and things, that'll be great. But I think we have a very, very good chance of the league, and I stand aside. I'll put a bet on it with anybody.
You'll put a bet that we'll win the league. So what tattoo are you going to get if we don't?
Yeah. I don't think I'll have it on my head.
All right, lovely stuff, Grandpa. Always good to get your positive opinions.
Year, and, yeah, and let's make what is more important than anything else that everybody stays positive. We don't negativity in any shape or form is not going to help our team. Be positive. Be positive about Conte, and be positive about all our players, because even if they're going to make mistakes, they need to be all the time wanting to win, and that the only way they will want to win is if they hear positivity all the time.
Absolutely brilliant stuff,
right.
Grandpa.
That includes you two guys.
Oh, you know we're going to be positive. Come on.
Thanks for coming on, Grandpa. Always good to get your views. And we'll see you soon.
We'll see you very soon, Grandpa.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
I swear, every time he comes on, you start feeling like so positive by the end. You're like,
honestly,
Spurs are winning the league now. Come on.
Doing this, Conte's doing now. I see it now. I see the line. We're winning the league. It's so clear to me now.
I know.
I can't believe I didn't see it before.
Pretenders? Who the hell are pretenders? Where's the challengers? Come on, people. Brandon Troller saying a fit and firing Ollie Skip is a top January signing.
Yeah, fair.
People sleep on Ollie Skip a bit. People forget like how brilliant he was for us last season.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think once he gets regular playing time again, he's going to be a very good asset for us. And it will be a bit like a new signing. It's going to be pretty much nearly a year without properly playing.
Yeah, I know. Oliver Friedman, welcome to Silver. Welcome to the family, my friend. Jano says, I wish he was my grandpa. Well, he's the people's grandpa.
He's our grandpa.
He's also our grandpa. And Bobby K says, yes, Grandpa, the quad is on. James Richmond saying, Grandpa is a true Spurs fan. And Jano saying, Grandpa's got more hair than Ben and Sim. He's definitely got more hair than me. That's for sure.
He got the good hair genes, unfortunately.
You know what they say though? They say that the hair gene is supposed to skip a generation.
And it is.
That didn't happen with me.
Well,
because my dad's bald, and like Grandpa's got loads of hair, so like I'm supposed to have loads of hair.
Didn't get Grandpa's hair, unfortunately.
But anyway, let's keep going and let's go on to our next guest, someone that hasn't been on a while and goes by the name of Aravind. Aravind, how you doing, brother?
Nice to see you, Aravind.
Good. Hello.
Where's that Harry Kane picture? Oh, I can see it there on the radiator.
I've been shifting a lot of places. I'm not able to join for many of the sessions, and it's the first time I'm joining.
Well, it's good to have you back. It really is.
Yeah.
And talk to us. I can see you got a big smile on your face. Are we challengers or are we pretenders? And tell me why.
I don't want to jinx it. I just want to see what happens in the next 6 weeks, because we have back-to-back games. Like I think so. We have in the October month is mad with the games we have the Champions League, then the Premier League. I think so. We have games every 3 or 4 days. If we can get the most wins by the end of the month, I think so. We have a real chance that we can challenge for the title. Because I'm pretty sure we're playing around four games in October, so that's around 7 + 4, 11 games, and we have the Champions League. If we can go past that stage, let's say if we win 3 of that games in that 4, I'm pretty sure that we can challenge for the title.
Wow, that's big words. I mean, do you think the football that we're playing at the moment is sustainable?
I don't know. Okay, yes, the football we're playing is not nice, but let's be serious. Last season, we weren't, when Conte came, we weren't a team that was dominating possession. All we did was play counter attacking football, and I think so Conte knows about this team, that counter attacking is the best. We don't have quality all over the pitch. We have quality in few areas, and he's able to exploit that. And I don't get the reason. For me, I don't give a shit about what football we play unless we win games, and we haven't got these many points since 2016-17. Mauricio Pochettino played fancy football, got the same number of results, 17 points. Conte is playing a different kind of football and is getting the same results. So how does it matter what kind of football we play? I personally I don't care. For me, the only thing which I care, which we all get excited is the ball going into the back of the net. If that happens, then I'm more than happy. I don't care if we play possession football. I don't care. Possession football we played under Mauricio Pochettino did not get any results. So I didn't get any trophies. So end of the day for me is can we play any kind of football and get the results? That's what matters. And Conte plays that kind of football. You see all his teams. Inter Milan never used to dominate possession. His Chelsea team, and when it won it and never used to dominate possession, they used to play good football. Okay, that's one thing we can argue is that when we have the possession, we look a bit rusty and we don't look good. So that was the last season where we were able to play good football with the position we have. That's something which I think so will grow as the season goes by. Like when once few more games comes into action, we'll have a really good squad. And I totally believe. And the only thing which our squad used to lack for all the season is when we have back-to-back games, are we able to win? Are we able to win? And if we can go past that crunchy area of that October, we have back-to-back games due to the stupid World Cup in the November, which I don't get the logic behind it. Yeah, if we can go past that October session, I really think we can actually challenge. But I'm a bit skeptical about how many wins we can get over there.
What I meant, Aravind, is the way we're playing our football at the moment. In certain games, we have come under increased pressure. When you look at the first hour against Leicester, when you look at the Wolves game, you look at the Chelsea game, you look at the West Ham game. Can we stand up to the challenge when we play maybe better attacking teams with better players going forward that can actually hurt us?
I mean, yeah, correct. What I'm trying to say is I do agree, but against the good teams, we tend to sit back and play. Like against Liverpool and Manchester City last season, we used to sit back and play. I think so. The games where we feel difficult is if when we want to like play expansive football. That's when our defense gets open. Against Leicester City is one of the occasions. When against Wolves was another occasion. When we try to play expansive football, sometimes it doesn't work because I don't know. Is it Conte's instructions or is it the players we have? Because when he's keep on shifting his defensive positions because he's not trusting some of his wing backs. So like there are some key issues that needs to be delivered. So hopefully that's been solved. The only worry that stops me is I wish that Juventus don't take away Conte from us because there's a lot of rumors going on recently that he was going over there. That's the only thing that can stop us. So hopefully, like the main thing is getting Conte with a new contract, and I want that to be done fast. That's something we need to solve. I think that is another issue to be solved. And football wise, I'm not worried. I think so. We need to let's give him time. He came last season in the mid season. You can't expect us to play better football in a year's time. Look at how much time it took for Arteta to develop his football. It took him 2 to 3 seasons. Give him, and he's also said, give me 2 3 windows. We aren't like we have. I feel the way we are going to invest is get 2 quality players each window so that we can develop in 1 year. That's what I hope. That's what the discussions has gone. So let's give him few windows. We need to wait. I think so. Fans are impatient. Like we need to wait. Like no manager can come in and then tell us, "Oh, go win the league with us." So let's be patient. I think we can challenge for the title if we can go from October. We need to be patient. I can see there is the one thing which is good in his team is if we are 1-0 down, we have the mentality to come back into the game. The mentality of the squad is developed, and that was something lacking under Poch. That was something lacking under previous managers. The one thing which I really like is if we are 1-0 down, I as a fan, I'm confident that we can go and win this match. That's what has developed under me, and that's something he has develop in the squad, mentality-wise. Yes, formation-wise, quality-wise, there's few improvements to be done, and I think so. We need to be patient as a team. We will reap rewards if we see in the future games.
All right. Big up, Aravind. Thanks for coming on today, and hopefully see you on here more often now.
Yeah, sure, 100% for sure. And against the Scums next week, we need to win against
right.
them.
Are we going to win?
There's a lot of talking behind that Arsenal is playing beautiful football. Let's see what they do against us. We are a top team. Son is in form. Kane is in form. We have top quality players in form, and I think so. Arteta is going to shit himself if Conte puts pressure on him. And I don't rate that manager. There's too much talking about them as being title challengers. They played against one good team and they lost. Play against us against Emirates. I think so. This season in Emirates we're going to win.
Big up, Aravind. I'm loving the fighting talk. But rumours have it that Arteta's already trying to get this game thrown out the door, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because he's scared. He doesn't want to play against us. So don't worry. Postpone the match, and you know what happened last time when they postponed the match? They lost it. If you want to postpone it. We have no issues. Run away from us. It's our
Big up.
ground. You came from somewhere to our stadium, so they're doing the opposite now.
All right, let's see how it works out for them. But big up, Aravind. Thanks for coming on today, mate, and we'll see you next time.
Nice one,
sure.
Aravind.
Big up, Aravind. I love his fighting talk. Let's keep going. We're going to bring on Ollie. Yes, Ollie. How you doing, mate? How you doing?
Hello,
How you
Ollie.
getting on, you alright?
All good, mate. And you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I came home. I noticed my family wasn't in, so I thought, and I noticed you were on, so I thought I'd come on and say hello. I don't really get much time to even do anything, really. So just thought
It's good to have you, mate. It's good to have you.
Spurs family, don't worry.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm still buzzing about Saturday, so still on the high.
Yeah, well, talk to me. We've been having a long conversation with many people today about our Spurs challengers this season or are we pretenders this season? What's your thoughts?
I'm going to go with the challenging.
All right, tell me what.
It was. I know you had a good debate last night on the Irish Hotspur, and I do agree the defence is weak. But I look at Conte when he won the league with Chelsea. He won the league with David Luiz, Christensen, and Cahill as a back three, and he got 96 points that year with them, with Victor Moses right back. So, you know what? If he can do it with them, why can't he do it with us, with the best front three in the world? Like, it isn't like I know City are much better than what they was then, but you have to believe that it's possible.
Ollie, with what you're seeing from Tottenham at the moment this season, obviously 5 wins, 2 draws, but are you seeing performances of a title challenging team, or do you think we have to really improve if we're going to challenge?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to improve, but at the moment, we're just getting the results without playing well, which is obviously a good sign. And we all know, like when Conte won the league last time, he didn't start too great either, and then he went on that great run. So you have to hope that we'll just do that again, and City will get an injury to Haaland. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to wish players injured, but if Haaland gets an injury, they're in trouble, I think. So, yeah, at the moment, I'm going to say challengers. Like challengers, yeah, because you have to believe if we're not going to be challengers this year, when are we going to be challengers?
Next year.
Maybe next year when we get a better centre back and a right wing back, yeah. But this year I'm going to say challengers.
There's 2 ways you can look at it in terms of the start to the season and the way we're playing our football, because you cast your mind back to the way we started under Jose Mourinho that year, weren't playing the best brand of football, but we were getting results. We were top of the league. I think in December we were top of the league, albeit the league started a bit later that year, and then it all fell apart. So you could either look at it saying that we're a good side, not playing well, but getting the results, or is this football sustainable and it's going to come apart at some stage? So, I mean, it's interesting to see which way people look at it. I assume you're looking at it saying that we will get better and we will, get to
I think
things in
it'll
terms of our
improve.
performance.
All we have to do is get to November and still be in the mix. And then after that, it's the World Cup. And then there's January. And I reckon we'll bring in a top centre-back in January. And then if he still doesn't fancy Spence by then, he'll probably bring in a right wing-back as well. So that could be the missing piece of the jigsaw. And then you don't know what's going to happen after that. So at the moment, I'm going to believe that it can happen.
Ollie, do you believe Tottenham right now are Man City's biggest challengers for a league title?
I'm not going to write off Liverpool just yet because they. I know that. Sorry, my family are home now. But peace and quiet, it's over. But I'm not going to write off Liverpool just yet because if they keep Thiago fit and Elliot and keep that midfield tree going, they'll be up there. I'm not going to write them off. But yeah, Liverpool and Tottenham are City's biggest challenges in my opinion because I think Chelsea have done too much change, in my opinion, and. United obviously only just got Ten Hag in, so yeah, Tottenham and Liverpool, nearest challengers.
All right, big up, Ollie. I think you go back to your family now, and we shall speak to you next time.
Cheers for calling in, Ollie.
It's over. Yeah, cheers, lads.
Speak to you soon, mate. Thanks for coming on.
See you later. Bye. Bye-bye.
Big up to Ollie there. Michael Hellman with the super chat says, in the next All or Nothing, Arsenal will be playing the Antonio Conte chant in training. They'll probably be playing with like cockerels walking around the pitch as well or something. Like any sort of way. Like suddenly he turns into Thomas Edison and he invented the light bulb and like all this rubbish. You know what I mean? It's like how cringy do you want to get?
Oh God, no, there's no level to his cringe.
Yeah, like when I was watching that Amazon All or Nothing, it literally like he was just trying to be Pep all the time in that changing room, the way
Just
Pep is.
without the titles.
Yeah, without the titles.
Pretty much.
But anyway, that's enough about Arsenal, and that's enough for the stream today. I think it was a really good stream today. Thank you everyone for calling in. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.